Hey everybody, welcome to this live episode of Think Business Live. Looking forward to talking with Adrienne Richardson. Adrienne, it's great to connect with you. You're the founder of Powerplay Media, the best way to get leads and increase revenue with Facebook advertising. I think this is a very relevant topic. Many people are continually thinking about how to scale and monetize their business. Think community, you know, I'm a business coach. I work with successful people who are stuck and get them unstuck. What I love about this podcast is we bring in guests to continually get you unstuck. And I think one thing that people are stuck on is to do Facebook ads or to not do Facebook ads, right? That is the question. So listen up, everybody, because hopefully you can take one thing out of today that will help you grow your business. Adrienne, thanks so much for being on the show. Let's talk about Facebook and when is the right time to begin using Facebook ads?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Jon, for having me on. That's a common question. People will say, like, how do I know when I'm ready? And I think that you should test your offer on your warm audience, organic audience first, because they are the most likely to buy from you. They've already know you and trust you. And so once you know you have an offer that converts well to your warm audiences, then it's time to add fuel to the fire and get some Facebook ads going to cold audiences that don't know who you are, or, haven't worked with you yet.
Yeah. And so let's talk about how you kind of begin. I know many people are talking about Facebook ads. You can start with $20, $50. There really are ways where you can start small and slowly kind of grow. So just kind of talk about what are the beginning options that don't necessarily cost too much.
Yeah, there's some people that believe that you have to have this huge budget to run Facebook ads. And there's even people out there who say, don't even bother if you don't have $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month. And I just don't believe that. I believe in starting with where you're at, starting with what you have and where you're at. And so two of the most inexpensive ways to generate leads on Facebook is by either using ads to grow a Facebook group. So if your business has a free Facebook group or anything like that, you can use Facebook ads to add new people to the group for like $5 or less. So, in this day and age, that's pretty affordable and cheap. Or the second way is by using them to build your email list. I believe that an email list is one of the number one best assets that a business can have. And so you can use Facebook ads to get people onto your email list, again, for relatively inexpensive. So if you have $25, $50 a day to start with, that is a great place to start. And you can build an audience, either a Facebook group or an email list, starting at that amount.
I want to just talk one thing, Facebook, all the social platforms are great. But one of the things that I think sometimes people forget about, to your point, is you own your email list.
Yeah.
And so, what is an email worth? What will you pay for to get an email? What will you pay for to get a client? What is the lifetime value of a client? Yeah. Can you talk about that and then reverse engineer kind of a strategy and a plan that someone could look at as they're thinking? Because I think the first step is, when do I get started? The next is, all right, do I need to do it for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months? And then reverse engineer kind of how do I track my goals?
Yeah.
And if it's working.
Yeah. Well, like you said, an email list is one of the, it's an asset you build and you pay to get that lead once. And now you can continue to market to them. And it doesn't cost you anything other than what you're paying for your monthly fee for your CRM or whatever. So, and you own it, right? Like Facebook makes changes, LinkedIn makes changes, Twitter makes changes. They all make changes and we don't have any control over that. And at any time they could make a change that just knocks you out of the game. And so using those tools as a resource to build an asset that you own is a really smart thing to do. And I think that business owners should never stop generating leads. Like, they should never stop growing their list. They should never stop generating leads, because if you don't have leads, you don't have sales, and then you don't have a business. So this is one of the number one activities that a business owner should be doing all the time, is generating leads.
Yeah.
And so when you say 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, I think that year round, business owners should have a certain amount of their budget that they put aside. It's a line item on, their P&L or whatever that they put towards advertising. And so you're always generating leads, because even if you only have promotions you do a couple times a year, or you have these big launches that sometimes people will do. You're still building that list all year long. You're building relationship with them. You're establishing authority and trust, and then can move them into becoming a buyer when you have promotion, sales, launches, whatever you want to do. But you talked about, what is the plan? Well, a lead that you only have to pay for once and you can continue to market to on and on is very valuable, right? Like having to only pay for it once is extremely valuable. And so, like I said, I think that each business should decide what percentage of their revenue they're going to put in aside to spend on advertising.
Yeah. I love what you just talked about. And I just want to kind of highlight, I think a lot of times as a business coach, I work with a lot of salespeople, a lot of managers, a lot of C-level execs and leaders. But it amazes me how many in the sales world that I work with, where people stop prospecting. They stop generating leads. And in today's market, and I think there's this old school mindset that goes back probably 50 plus years. If I cold call for 3 months, I never have to make a cold call again, right? Well, 50 years ago, there was, millions of less competitors, millions of less, hours of traffic per day of news and everything coming our way. And so the rules of yesterday do not apply today. And today's rules and standards really mean if you want to grow and scale your business, you need to always be prospecting, always be generating leads, and always be planting seeds for the future growth of your business, and not just to one generation, but 5 different generations. So you really have to customize it. What I like about what you're talking about in Facebook ads is you can really target specific groups of people. Can you chat about that for a second?
Yeah. And Facebook in February of 2022, Facebook made a major change and removed a lot of the targeting that used to be available, but there is still hundreds of thousands of options available. And so the beauty with Facebook is you can specifically target as precisely as they will allow you to your ideal client, right? And then let's just continue with talking about using it to grow your email list, right? And like what's nice about the email list, using the ads to get people on the email list, you build relationship there, then you don't have to, it's not really cold prospecting anymore, right? Like it's now warm. You've got those people on the list, you build trust, you build relationship, and moving them along the path of becoming a buyer is no longer cold prospecting. You're letting Facebook kind of do the work for you of going out, finding the people that are, whatever audience you're trying to reach and bringing them into your world.
Yeah, I love it. Let's talk a little bit about a method that you use, the ROI method: refine, optimize, increase. Talk a little bit about that. I think people can really resonate always with the methodology, and something that they can kind of, wrap their arms around.
Yeah, well, the ROI scaling method really has to do with what happens when people start doing ads and then they get great results. They want more, right? And usually a big common complaint I hear with Facebook ads is when people start to increase their budget, the whole thing implodes and then it falls apart. And so I believe that the reason that happens is because they're approaching it from the wrong method. They're just like, well, I'll just throw more money at it. And you don't have to necessarily throw more money at Facebook ads to get more out of them. So the R in the ROI is to refine. And that is to take what's already producing results and just make tweaks to how each piece of your marketing is converting. And if you improve each one of those by a couple percentage points, you actually don't even have to increase your budget and you'll get more out of it. So before you increase your budget, I believe that we should refine what we already have and make it better.
Yeah.
And then the O is optimizing, where we're then going to take what is working well and optimize it within the Facebook platform more by pruning the things that aren't working, increasing on what is working. And that brings us to the I, which is the increase. And with Facebook, there's a very specific way to increase your budget that a lot of people aren't aware of. They just like, I'm just going to throw more money at it. And you actually have to do it very incrementally and specifically so that you don't just confuse the algorithm and blow the whole thing up. So doing that in small increments will help you to get to be able to scale successfully.
Good. I love it. I love it. Adrienne, you ready for a quick speed round?
Sure.
All right. A book that's had the biggest impact on you.
Oh man, I read so much. So there's a book that I absolutely love that's called Dream Big by Bob Goff. And every time I read that book, I'm inspired to do just like crazy, wild things in life that we would never even think of.
Yeah,
But it keeps you, uh, it keeps the adventure in me alive, which is
good.
easy to get bogged down in business.
Yeah, good. No, amen to that. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
I was at a traffic and conversions funnel many years, or traffic and conversions summit many years ago, probably 5 years ago. And Ryan Dice said that the business owner who's willing to pay the most to acquire a client wins.
Hmm.
And I've really take that to heart in the business that I do, because most people are telling me, "Get me the cheapest leads," right? Cheap, cheap, cheap. They want costs as low as possible, and I'm like, that cheap doesn't mean quality, and doesn't mean that it'll work. And so, really, if you want quality leads, you're gonna have to pay a little bit more for them. So the person that's willing to pay for the most quality is going to win.
Yeah, I love it. Last question. Anybody who's looking to take that first step into the Facebook ad world should?
Yeah, yeah, they should definitely do
Okay. And tell
it.
everybody who your ideal clients are and how they can connect with you, Adrienne.
Yeah, so I mainly work with thought leaders, coaches, consultants, online business owners, anybody. I don't do e-commerce or local brick and mortar. So anything outside of that, I can help them with creating a strategy for how they're going to produce leads and convert them into sales. And they can find me on Facebook or Instagram or on my website, which is wearepowerplay.com.
I love it. Adrienne, I appreciate you being on the show today and sharing a lot of wisdom. Think community. We talked in the beginning. Can you find that one thing that will get you unstuck to help you grow your business? Adrienne, you shared a ton about Facebook advertising, how to get started, how to think about it. Wearepowerplay.com will give you more information on Adrienne. But think community, one thing I'm extracting from what Adrienne said is that we always need to be generating leads. However you do that, whether it's through Facebook or any other medium, in today's world, we need to look at the business and say, how are we generating leads from different places? Because everything is going to have a different time that they actually sprout. And we got to be looking at where all of our clients and all of our avatars and all of the different generations that are doing business with us today, and be really strategic and smart to generate more and more leads every day. For more information on Adrienne, go to wearepowerplay.com. For more information on me, you can go to jondwoskin.com, learn all about my coaching services. Adrienne, any last thoughts?
I just want to thank you so much for having me, and tell people, just get started. The sooner the
Yeah.
better.
Amen. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Adrienne.
Thank you.